talk to me for a second?
How's it going, man?
Yeah, that's good. All right.
Hey, guys.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the X Foils podcast. This is Dylan, your host, sitting with Hunter.
Yeah, I'm Hunter Becker.
Thanks for joining me, dude.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's been a super busy week for everybody. Hectic wind coming into the AWSI, and then no wind for the event, which is, I don't know, good and bad. I think it's good for the accounts to kind of meet the guys. It's not good for trying the gear, but the most important is to meet with the team and you know, get the numbers straight and figure out what you want to do for the year.
Lots of time in the booth with all the boys this week.
So you're on the North team.
Yeah.
Which is really cool because I consider myself part of the North team, as most people know. And I love the team. I love the foils, and I love tinkering with things. And as we grow, that's what I like to be part of, is like trying out the new foils and, you know, seeing where they would break, or, you know, stuff like that.
It's definitely kind of my specialty, is finding where the foils break as well.
Yeah. So you're generally, I would know you as like a badass kite foiler.
Yeah.
Right?
Kite foil is kind of my main thing. I do a little bit of strapless riding. I mean, I do all forms of kiting and winging and stuff, but if conditions are good for me, I'm going to go kite foil.
Yeah.
And I like to do big kite loops and all the big air stuff that you only see guys on twin tips doing.
Yeah. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, but it's just kind of interesting. Like, I'm from Santa Barbara, and I think when I got into kiting, all I wanted to do was kite surf and waves and ride a twin tip and do unhooked stuff. And like, all the guys that got me into kiting were doing that, and I just didn't have access to wind. So really
Santa Barbara, it's very windy.
It's like, a good day is like 12 to 13 knots. And the first time I went upwind was with a foil. The first back roll I ever did was with a foil. And again, I just wanted to ride a twin tip, but it was like the only option. So I don't know, I just developed this style from the beginning that was like, wow, this guy's aggressive with a hydrofoil board and like a race foil. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. What year was that? Like, when did you learn how to kite?
I think 2017.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I had liquid force solo kites, and
that's when you learned how to kite?
Yeah.
Oh, so not that long.
I'm 22, I'm 29 now, and I was 22 when I learned how to kite. I had like a quarter life crisis and sold all my shit and bought kite gear and
quarter life crisis.
Dude, it was funny.
22. Come on.
I did. It was like the best thing that happened to me, because I went to school to be a pilot.
Oh,
so
really?
I'm a commercial pilot. I have all my ratings and certificates, and basically I was making more money working for a civil engineer in Santa Barbara, and it allowed me to pursue kiteboarding because I had days at home, and I only had to work 4 10s.
Yeah.
So I had 3 days off, and then
that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like, right away I got support through CORE. I met Eric Reinstra up here in Hood River, and he got me, this was probably 4 years ago, set up with gear, which again, I was riding like liquid force, like 2 or 3 season old gear, just whatever I could get my hands on. I actually had homemade boards. I was like, this guy in Santa Barbara, he's kind of a legend. His name's Jerry Shalhoub, but he's Kai Lenny's godfather. He was like helping me make these hydrofoil boards. Like, we'd put Divinycell in a barbecue and a jig and like get rocker in it.
No way.
So I could
That's
jump.
Wild.
Yeah, it's so funny.
That's cool.
And it's classic because he's like totally against foot strap inserts and stuff. So I like fight him every step of the way to get what I need.
And you're in Santa Barbara, and did you ever work for a kite school or something, or it was a hobby?
No, it was a hobby, and so that it all happened interesting because I was a commercial pilot. I started kiteboarding, then I picked up this job working for a civil engineer because I have a construction background, and that like allowed me to pursue my kiting. Yeah. And I think in my second year of kiting, I got picked up by CORE on their national team. Yeah. And like, I was still working full time.
It's just because there's not many people doing what you do?
No, and it was the first year their core foil, like the SLC came out, and they needed someone to like promote it. Yeah. The only guy that wrote it and that had media of was Steven Acker. I can't say his last name. The German. Steven. He's my buddy. Yeah. That's funny. But yeah, so it was actually a good time for me to like get into like the industry. and I ended up right away kind of getting promoted to a tech rep job. I worked for Airrush for a year and ran the demo tour. And that was epic because I went all around the world with them. I went to Cape Town. I got to work on the Ultra team.
Yeah.
We did like bridle testing. I worked on the foil, so I got to make my own custom board, like on a computer with DK.
Nice. That's super cool.
Yeah, it was such a cool experience.
So just in the industry.
Yeah.
Because it's cool to be part of it.
Totally. And I think that the kite foil thing, like it's such a small niche in our industry, and it's like, I mean, there's not even companies that make like parts for what I do. Like it's just a niche thing.
Yeah. I've seen you ride some weird things.
Yeah. Totally. And it's funny, this season is like the first time in my whole life that I don't have a custom setup.
Yeah.
I'm just riding stock gear. I have like a North Sonar foil, carbon mast.
Ride the Scoop?
I ride a Scoop.
Like a 120.
I ride the 120.
Yeah.
120. Yeah.
That's the mini.
No, the mini is smaller.
115 or something.
And the mini is thinner, and I actually love the mini. The mini is an awesome board.
Strapless more so, or?
Yeah, I find that it's just it's too light of a board for me. Like I don't know. If you're gonna tow and pump or kite strapless and stuff, that is such a sick board.
Yeah. I lean towards the middle one.
I'm pretty sloppy. Like I don't ever
tell me about it.
Have issues, but like I feel that in light wind, so especially when I'm home in Santa Barbara training, I destroy equipment, and it's like doing boogie loops when I can't swing out and get caught by my kite.
Yeah.
And like I'm training for Brazil and other places that are like light wind. That is when I tend to have some gear issues. But this season I haven't had any. It's cool. I actually talked to Uli a couple days ago, and he designs all the stuff with North. Again, this is the first year I'm riding a stock setup.
Yeah.
And it's the first year I'm not having like catastrophic foil problems.
Yeah.
So
it's good to hear.
It's pretty cool.
Man, I do all the disciplines also. I consider myself a good kiter, but I mean, I don't put gear through. I mean, I throw it on rocks and stuff like that, but the amount of pressure and torque that you're putting on and the load that you put on the foil doing the things that you do with a kite, it's crazy. Like
it's the slides.
How are your knees?
Yeah, so it's the kite loops and everything, my knees are terrible. I have the worst knees.
I've seen you come down from like attempted double loops with the kite still in front of you, like
I definitely have bad knees. I think the most torsion though that I'm putting on my foil is on my slides that I've been learning how to do. And I've seen photos where I just don't understand how the gear doesn't break, but like everything is like twisted and flexing.
Yeah, because you're like up above the water.
Doing and
getting a little bit of lift from your kite. It's
essentially a power slide that ends up it's like a back roll kite loop, but my foil never leaves the water. So like, you know how a lot of stylish tricks are basically back roll hand drags, but with like a different maneuver, the dark slide.
Yeah, the Jesus walk.
The Jesus walk, all those tricks. So it's essentially a variation of that, where I'm just leaving my foil in the water. And it's really just a timing thing. It's like an illusion kind of, because I'm not power sliding my foil 100 feet. And sometimes when I'm lit, but it's just a really big back roll kite loop that looks, and the timing of it is I'm keeping my foil in the water.
You like the feel of it?
It's sick, yeah. And I can do it both ways now. So I've been learning all year how to do it from toe side now. So I'm coming in toe side and doing like a toe side back roll kite loop, but the slide is now backside.
Right.
So it feels amazing when I can do both of those without falling in a row.
It's almost better to be backwards so the foil doesn't get any lift by accident, right? Man, you don't want it to engage, you bring it, if you're coming in front and it gets into the water, it'll buck you. Right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've probably had like 1,000 crashes trying to figure out how to slide. And I've actually never kited flat water until I went to Brazil.
Yeah.
So me and Alex Soto, who's on the world tour with me for Kite Foil Freestyle, we went to Brazil together last year, and we were riding in the lagoon in Caipe, and it's like 2 feet deep there, so you can't even foil. But
you mean flat.
We had this one like hallway of lagoon that we could ride in without our foil sitting.
Yeah.
And I learned how to slide like 100+ feet there. I mean, I would ride like a 12-meter kite and just figure out the slide. And now I can do it in chop pretty consistently. It's like one of my most consistent tricks.
So where were you just now doing, you were competing in the kite, what is it?
So they switched it. It used to be kite. It used to be Kite Foil Freestyle, and now the rules have changed that they're doing it. They're going to run us with the twin tip big air.
Oh, I see.
So it's Kite Foil Freestyle. Sorry, Kite Foil Big Air.
Oh.
And then there's a couple events that will be freestyle, like lighter wind events.
Yeah.
But they're not as important. Like the GK basically said, you can kind of pick which ones you want to go to, but the most important ones are the big air events. Which will be like Tarifa, Brazil.
Yeah.
So
I feel like you probably like the freestyle more.
I do, actually.
The big air.
I do. I love kite loops and
I'm like your fly. That's stuff. Sick.
Yeah. I think that I'm actually a better wave rider than I am better at like big air, anything like that. Like the main reason I even started sliding my foil is I was just trying to emulate doing like a snap on a surfboard.
Yeah.
And actually I was doing like fins out to Olay and riding reverse.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how do I figure out how to do this on my foil? You know, like I see guys on surf foils. That's like the hot thing now is like blasting your wing out of the wave on the surf foil.
Yep.
And I got this kite.
I mean, if you're not bringing your tips out, what are you doing?
What are you doing? Seriously. But like as a kiter, it's almost like cheating. Like I can do like a 30-foot air out of a wave.
Yeah.
And put myself in the situations where the surf foil guys like wanna be.
Yeah.
But they can't. And I can cheat with my kite, right? So why not be the most aggressive guy as we're doing that, right? Like if I can get 20 waves by the time a surf foiler gets like one, I can, you know, air out of the wave and land in it and ride switch and slide.
It doesn't really feel like you're surfing though, right?
No, it's
totally
different. And you know what? I
wouldn't compare.
I'm such a conditions guy now because I think for 3 or 4 years, I only rode a kite foil. That's it. And last year, I really wanted to become like all around, you know, pretty proficient in kiting. And I will say that I'm lacking on a twin tip. Like I don't twin tip at all.
Yeah.
I ride boots in the park about twice a year. Yeah. And I'm not bad. Like I'll hit every feature, but I'm kind of I'm scared to unhook and I want to get better at riding freestyle. Surfing though, this year I put a lot of time in strapless, and I mean I think that might be my strong point, second to the foil.
Yeah.
Just because they translate so well. Like I could switch my feet on a foil before I could a surfboard.
Yeah.
So once I like spent 2 days on a surfboard, I was like a master, you know.
Yeah.
And it's pretty funny. I'm such a kook, but I'll wear like in middle of summer I'll wear booties and use like Dream Cream on my deck pad. And just like my board's not coming off my feet, man. I can just like air anything.
Like glued on.
Basically glued on. I use rat traps.
Is that even allowed?
Not in competition, but you know, I'm only a kite foil guy, so it's totally chill.
How'd you do in the comp?
Actually, really good. I just got back from Silt, Germany.
Is that your first competition?
No. So I've been competing on the world tour for 3 years now.
Yeah.
I think my debut was 2022 Tarifa World Championships.
Mm-hmm.
And then, for the last 2 years, I've been with North competing. This was my best result though, and it's kind of awesome. Like everyone thinks foiling's a light wind sport.
Yeah.
And this is
for me it is, right?
One of the reasons we were just saying, like you were saying, you probably think I prefer the freestyle over the big air, is because I don't enjoy riding a kite foil when it's over like 35 knots, right? Like it's just like dangerous. That's when I go wing or like I want to get into sup downwind and other things that are just more fun when it's that windy. But no, the level is just crazy now. Like, you know, I was just with Charles Burdell. Him and I were in the same room together for a week in Germany. And basically after 25 knots on a kite foil, the only option is like double kite loops, S loops. Charles is doing like double boogie, double kite loop, board off, like stuff that like you just, I mean, literally like Charles Burdell. He rides for F1. It's really good. The world champion for 5 years.
Did he win this one?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He wins everyone. He beat Fred Hope. Like he's just insane. I think that he could win against guys on twin tips with his foil.
Yeah.
Like if you did King of the Air or something. Like the scariest thing with it is getting disconnected. But if you keep your foil on your feet, you're not going to get hit by it. I mean, you can accordion and for sure, there's things that can happen, but it's safer on your feet than it is flying next to you in a jump. Like kicking your board off is just not the move.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of foil injuries. Like I still have like carbon fiber and a big cut right here. You can see the black.
I see it.
Yeah. And I mean, I have like ones from in my head. I always wear a helmet now. Even when I ride a surfboard, I wear a helmet now. But I don't know. I also think I'm just like getting old. I'm 29 and I'm like, man, I got to keep up with like Zach Adams and stuff. Like these kids just doing the craziest stuff.
It was whatever, Monday. Nobody cares. It was on Monday. It was extremely windy, like gusting into 45, 50.
Yeah, I had a sick session on the new Orbit Ultra.
Yeah.
I was 7.3, I think. Or 7.4.
7.3.
7.3.
Yeah. 7.3, 8.1.
I wish I had a Woo on me or the Surfer app because Maxime, the guy I was riding with,
25 meters.
Yeah, and like I was riding with him, and one time he jumped over my kite, like way over me, and then I did it 5 minutes after that over him, and
that thing is insane.
I really couldn't believe the bar pressure on that new kite. So I've always preferred the reach because I foil and I don't like bar pressure.
Yeah.
And I feel that the reach turns really quick, and that if I'm riding like two kite sizes too big and I'm overpowered, I can hold it down really well.
Mm-hmm.
And with the normal reach, I always felt like it would get low in the window and it was just pulling too hard, you know?
Yeah.
And this new reach was like, it had no bar pressure, but when I did a back roll kite loop and when I did a front roll kite loop, I knew where I was in the air. Like some kites with no bar pressure, like the new Harlem kite, like you can't actually sense where the kite's at. So when you do a big jump and you like send the kite, if you start rotating, you really need to look at what's going on versus like feeling it.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I felt the new Orbit was insane. It felt like the reach, the regular reach as far as bar pressure.
Yeah.
It turns probably as fast or faster than the reach.
Yeah, I got a ton of extra lift from that kite.
Yeah.
I was on the 9 meter and I should not have.
It was like 5 meters every jump higher than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
And it actually threw me off on the kite loops. Like a few times I pulled the loop early and like pulled myself out of my skin. Like
I told you.
Yeah.
When you went on the water, you're like, oh, I haven't tried this one yet. I'm like, hold on to your pants.
Pull your kite loop late on this kite until you figure out the timing.
Yeah. But the recovery is it's
instantaneous.
Like so fast, and
it's
you gotta get used to it.
Yeah, it's definitely the kite for doubles. I think all the new kites are like, I've been doing a lot of doubles this year on the reach, and the smaller sizes like the 7 and the 5 double really well. And it's so funny, like our tech every year, the industry and the gear gets better and better and better, and like I can't keep up with it. Like, can we make a kite that doesn't turn so fast? Like, I just want to do two rotations and just feel my kite.
Take a smaller bar. No?
Yeah, it's true. But no, I really, really enjoy the reach. It's so insane.
That's cool. You've got like a really good understanding of flight.
Yeah,
obviously, pilot.
I have a big aeronautical background. Yeah.
How many hours do you still keep up with all the ratings?
1,700 flight hours and an airplane. So I basically got everything you could get as a pilot before your ATP rating, and ATP is airline transport pilot.
Yeah.
So essentially, like to get to the next step, I would go to work for an airline.
Yeah.
And then, or basically become a flight instructor or something. I have a lot of hours.
Yeah.
So this is my fallback job, by the way. When I'm like, on my 3rd blown ACL or something, I'll be a pilot again. But I got a few more.
I mean, I assume you can't keep up with all your ratings because that would be silly if you're not in the industry.
No,
it's too expensive. But you still have your private pilot.
Yeah, so it never expires.
Yeah.
My pilot's certificates will never expire. I'm instrument rated. I have my multi-engine commercial rating, my single-engine commercial rating. Basically, to go back to flying, I need to get a biannual flight review. I just need to go and spend probably 6 hours in an airplane, a couple hours in a classroom.
Yeah.
And then, get a medical. I actually haven't flown an airplane in probably 2 years. I flew with my dad recently, but I paraglide though. I fly I'm still flying. I'm doing all these other sky sports, and I think everything translates.
No, for sure. You came. There's no wind at the event, and then you came.
Yeah, I paramotored into it.
Super loud.
I had some bad ideas, man. That was like the best idea of the bad ideas. We were gonna drop a base jumper over AWSI this year out of a tandem, and
sick.
I didn't want to like ruffle too many feathers, so the paramotor barrel rolls were okay.
That was enough, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was learning. I was like, I'm gonna be a pilot, So I went into it. I did like 40 hours, not of flying, but I did the school.
Okay.
And just so much to learn.
Yeah, there's a lot to learn, and
I stopped because I always do it. Like it's just like everything I do is just all full on. It's like this is what I'm doing, and I was like every day like it's just nonstop, and I was consuming me, and I knew that it would really require me to do that to be safe and do it. And I was like, you know what? I was like, either I go full on or I stop now and I can do it later on in my life because right now I'm still dedicated, busy.
Yeah.
I mean, everything else, I think
I joke around
want to fly
with everybody and say that I went backwards in life. But the nice thing about, and it's funny, but the nice thing about the pilot certificate is, again, it doesn't expire. I can decide to go back at any time. I had this issue though, where I found kiting. I was really good at it. And then I think right away when I found kiting, I was into an adrenaline sport, right? And then all of a sudden flying an airplane, I was like a bus driver. I think Kite Surf Pro is actually what ruined my success. But I get the notifications of when it's windy.
Yeah.
And I'd be on these flights. I'd be flying people to Las Vegas or something. And I'd be like, man, it's windy. All I got to do is get to the beach. And I kind of just made it happen. I found a job that gave me adrenaline. I was working for a civil engineer, operating heavy equipment, making the most money I've ever made in my life. And it was pretty chill. I got off work and got to go kite. And,
that's nice.
Yeah, it's pretty sick. But yeah, it's totally backwards. I mean, I got my career set up first, went to school, got the pilot thing done, and now I'm a pro kiteboarder and
I mean, I think
pro paraglider. I guess I don't even know
about it, and then you can find different avenues, and then you can fall back on it or go back once you feel like you've run your knees out of this and.
Well, it's cool. The last few years have just been so interesting. I never really had plans to go travel the world, right? And then I started kiting, and that's opened up so many new places and friends and connections, with North. And, I didn't think I was going to go to the GK in Silt, Germany. And 3 or 4 days before the event, the GK called me and offered to pay for the whole trip.
Oh, that's dope.
Because I've been top 5 in the world for 3 years, so I'm finally at that point where I'm getting some support from the GKA and from the brands. And
so
it's really sick. It's I'm at a cool point in life, and I have all the tools to go back when it's time. Yeah. But right now it's just I don't know. I'm at the peak, my peak health, and I don't really drink. I used to have some I guess it wasn't really an issue, but I used to drink and party all the time, and I've just pretty much for a year just been focused on my health and not staying out late and drinking. And
I mean, I don't know
trying to be the first guy up to go hike and get a speed fly in before the wind. So by the time my friends are getting their session, I've already had 2. Yeah. And I just want to push it. I mean, I'm trying to follow in the footsteps of all my mentors, I guess, in kiting, and it's just a different time now. I think our industry is really into, foiling and sup sports and downwind. And
this podcast is, we generally talk about foiling.
Yeah.
I had a real conflict of what I wanted to do with this because I do all water sports and I love water sports. And I was like, I kind of want to focus on a niche, so it doesn't get too broad and I lose too many people. But I mean, I'm so involved with the kiting scene as well, and what they're doing on that side with the big air and how the industry is changing. I try to stay on top of everything. What's going on
at AWSI this week? I honestly think that our only connection as like a whole wind sports community is the foil now, because it's so segregated, right? We got like windsurfing, kiteboarding, surf foils, wing foils. We have like parakites now, and like honestly, it's not even like wind sports stuff now. It's like foil water sports gear.
Yeah.
And that's
Jamie Overbeek just beat the world record for height, right, on a kite foil. Was that 35 meters or something? Or
and then I think actually this morning it was a fly surfer kid.
Really?
36 meters this morning.
I saw a notification.
Kite. Yeah, just crazy, man. It's like,
I don't know. Do you do meters or you do feet?
In America, we go by feet, but it's so funny. All my friends are in meters, and my head is in meters. I don't even understand the standard American.
I don't know what that is.
We just should be on metric.
I think 25 meters, because I was thinking when I saw Max
I think that's
do
100 feet, right?
It's close. It's like 88 or something, and he traveled like 400 feet of distance or something like stupid, you know?
Basically, on the big days, like we were just talking about Monday, the only thing I'm thinking about now that I paraglide and I speed fly and I paramotor and base jump and do all these like sports where the gear is made for flying.
Yeah.
Now the only thing that's really changed is like my gear checks. I really don't know if kites are made to like fly 36 meters in the sky like we do it.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think the height is not the issue.
Yeah.
It's the load.
For sure.
Right? So how much load are you putting on that thing to get that high?
Yeah.
Up that high. I mean, Jesse Richmond did whatever.
Huge toe like the other day also.
That in no wind.
Yeah.
I was like, that's sketchy, bro. And then
Jesse's an animal though.
But he's done that toe up before here in the gorge. It was back in like 2000.
What was that one, like 700 meters or something? Or like
400 meters or something.
Crazy.
Like,
I will say though, like just always being on new equipment that's solid has been really confident, inspiring.
Yeah.
You know, and then I think getting confident with these other sports that have super high risk, like you can't make a mistake in speed flying. Like, you know, we saw with our friend Brandon Scheid, like it's too gnarly, and it's a hobby that I really enjoy, and I really don't want to get hurt ever. So I don't know it.
Well, people that don't do these things. If you don't want to get hurt ever, then
they say don't do it.
Stuff, right? But you said
me,
that the other day.
It's a mental thing for me because like I have tapped into this environment that like I don't think any people, unless you like try these sports, will experience. And like, you know, like I'm so scared of like boogie loops and stuff because like I've had injuries doing them, and my brain I feel like is just like it's really helped me grow. Like after like speed flying some crazy line at 6 a.m. where I do like 10 barrel rolls down a mountain, when I get back in the water, I'm not even concerned about the boogie loop. Like I'm just out there, like it's like flow state, you know?
Yeah.
And
when you
understanding
get in the right mood,
understanding that I'm not gonna like have a life ending or life altering consequence if I like slam on a kite loop, gives me this confidence to like push it, you know? And I'm doing all these other sports that I can't push it in, and it's bringing me like fuel when I get a push.
Slamming on the water with a foil, anything could happen.
Yeah, totally.
You feel like it's less risky because the other things that you're doing are very extreme. Like you cannot.
I mean, like breaking bones and stuff, I live for kite foiling. Like I don't, you know, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing now, I don't know what I'd be doing. It's like honestly, kiteboarding has become who I am, right? It's like, of course, it's part of my life, and yeah, I mean, I really don't want to get injured at all, but I think that by doing those other activities, it's like, it's just made it kind of go full circle. Like I can do the things kiting now that I never dreamed I would, like double kite loops on a hydrofoil.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's like me running off that mountain over there, even though that's calculated and I'm picking a safe day, like just that hobby is so much more dangerous than like a bad wind day trying to like learn your first kite loop. Like the risk is just, they're so different.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's just allowed me to push through so many mental boundaries with myself.
Yeah.
And like, I don't,
that makes a lot of sense.
after Brandon's incident, like I don't think I'm like trying to push my speed flying. Like, I don't care if I'm the best guy anymore. Like now it's just like a mental thing. Like I love it. It's fun. I can go and get my fix. And then when I get on the water, I'm like a fucking animal because I got my fix doing that.
Yeah. What other foiling do you do? Like what's...
I love tow foiling waves.
Like,
I love it.
We were supposed... You called me. I called...
I did. I called you this morning and was like, dude, let's get the jet ski and tow foil.
Yeah. And I'm like, you're like, I want to go find this boat. And with the... I'm like, that sounds epic.
So here...
Go down like...
Man,
catch their wake.
It's epic. Here in Hood River, so we have current going down that way. I guess it's to the west, down our river. And there's paddle wheel boats and cruise ships that go. I mean, you have to look at their schedule, but sometimes there's 2 a day. And I have a jet ski. Last season, I bought a jet ski to really pursue like tow foiling, getting good media, kiting, teaching some winging. Got to make money.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the jet ski is amazing. We used it last year. We also went out on a wake boat, and I ended up getting like a whole spread, a 2-page spread in Foiling magazine, just right here in front of the bridge. Yeah.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah, I remember that. I thought it was just a video. I didn't know
it goes like 15 knots or something, that boat. It's insane. I remember I took a 750 high aspect and like could not keep up with this wake. Like I was pumping the whole time. And
I think if other people that are listening to this actually do tow-in foiling in waves, like in Puerto Rico, like thinking that you bought a jet ski on a river to go tow foiling is not something that I think, right?
It's crazy. But it was a hot day and there was no wind. I'm a wave guy, man. I would rather go ride in big swell.
Yeah.
You know?
But do you use it to go in the ocean, like the Oregon coast and stuff? Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I'm only thinking river. I'm like, you bought it to go tow foiling?
I'm from Santa Barbara. And like my hometown is where Rincon is, and like some of the best right-hand point breaks in the United States for surfing are in my hometown. So like I go up to Halama and kite surf, and I mean I really think that waves are like why I'm here. But for 3 or 4 years, all I did was pursue kite foiling. Yeah. So,
it's the flow, you know.
No, and I'm just getting bored. Like I'm 29, and I really enjoy the other kite and wind things now. Like I really want to get into downwind supping, and like there's we just talked about it. Like when it's over 35 knots, taking a 5 meter and my kite foil out, it's like fun for 20 minutes. I'll go send huge double kite loops and S loops and stuff, but like it's just a huge risk at a certain point, you know? And like if I can just go shred waves on a sup board and blast my wing out of the water and get the same fix, but with like
surfing,
5% risk. It's just all conditions based for me.
You should learning how to downwind. I
think it'll be easy for me. I mean, I'm good at foiling.
That's what you keep saying, bro.
I have good balance.
I would love for you to learn how to do it in a day.
You know what? I'll make you guys a video for your fans when I finally get the opportunity to suck.
These are your fans.
Yeah, no, but I will for you guys make like because I've talked shit to so many different people about how I'm gonna get it in a day, and I've been quite cocky, so I'll make a video.
Yeah, I don't want to be wrong.
Yeah.
But you're like, okay, let's go, and you know we'll do it. And I've taken a couple people up there. I took Uli. I took Eric was putting the time in. It's easy, very easy here compared to other places. It's still not the easiest discipline ever. I'm an amazing foiler. I'm also really good. I learned in different conditions.
Well, you're a pro kiter too, right?
No,
but you started out as kiting. Right? You've kind of done it all.
Kiting, I've done it all. I have an extremely good level. I'm not by no means a pro, and I would never enter a competition and get any standing. I go to these little events around the States in Florida, other side board sports, and you know, I'll win a ring race, you know, because no one else is that fast, and I'm not the fastest, you know. I'll, you know, come fourth in a freestyle event, but I didn't actually do anything. I can still throw down some things, but I'm not, by no means am I a pro. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm not a pro in any of them. I'm just very proficient in all of it. I really would love to see you send a downwinder on your first run. I hope I don't hope, but I hope for everybody else that you at least spend an hour to do 2 miles.
So I the first time I winged, man, you'll appreciate this or that. So I was a tech rep for Air Rush in like 2021, and it was cool because I had every piece of equipment at my disposal, right?
Yeah.
So like I think that's when winging was like, it had been around for a year or something.
Yeah.
But I had all the new stuff, and I learned how to wing. I think I ate my words. I told everyone that winged, I was like, man, I'm going to figure this out in like 5 minutes. I think I floated downwind for like 2 hours, totally screwed myself. Like I couldn't get out where I was. I had to float all the way down to a safe spot that I could get out.
Yeah. You know what? It's not the moment.
Now I'm pretty good at winging.
Yeah.
But
the moment you'd get up on foil, you'd have no issue. You'd send the run dry. I guarantee it. The problem is that the technique that you need to paddle up, the paddling part, it's a lot of like the timing has to be right and the technique has to be right, and that's not the easy part unless you've paddled before. You know, we go up right now, it's windy, and I give you that parawing thing.
I'd probably figure that out.
Mary Poppins, pop up, and you would send the downwind or dry, right? Because you're really good and here the waves stack up. So if you know how to surf back and forth, and you can pump a little bit, and you do all of that, for sure you'll do a downwinder. The part where it is to paddle up would be the hard part for you, not the downwinding part, the staying on foil. There are a lot of people that are really good foilers that don't know how to surf their foil. They don't know how to stay on foil. They're always winging. They've always lit up.
Using something.
The moment that external force goes away, they don't know how efficient their foil can really be. If you understand the efficiency,
I already know how to read the waves too. Like spending all my summers in Hood, and especially winging the last few years, doing the wing downwinds. It's really fun.
So have you paddled?
Like I've supped before. I've never downwind supped though.
I would say like going through this for the last couple of days with people and how the event has been and seeing people that know how to foil, don't know how to paddle, go out and do it in those conditions. Like tomorrow's going to be really windy at the hatch.
Yeah.
It's a great day.
Probably be an epic day.
It would be really beneficial for you to go with the board, go into the flat water and paddle it for 2 hours.
Yeah.
Just to
so
get your balance.
I know
if not, you get out there and you're like, and you don't even know where your efficiency is. You don't know if you're improving because there's so much going on with the water and the movement. If you did that for 2 hours and you paddled around, I might think that you've got some success. If you,
I think I would like to see if I can get up on foil too on the flat water. It looks like with a big front wing and a paddle and the right technique.
The paddling it takes time. That's the only thing. But take a little parachute,
Dude, we need to make that product, man. The parachute and the paddle.
Yeah.
That's the next product.
I mean, I'm talking a lot about it with the team, we're trying to make something would be good.
And then the
next one is just going to be way better.
Yeah,
what's coming out now is it's going to be good. It's going to be just as good. It's going to work. And I've talked about it a lot over the last couple of days, so I don't know. People are going to get bored but that's all I'm going to do. That's all I want to do for the next month is figure that out. But the first one is going to be good, and it's going to do what we're doing, and it's going to work really well. But the next
we
one
just saw that
is going to be really good, But we need a lot of time to get that extremely right.
I think there's a lot of products in our industry though that are like that, where like we just need a V2, V3. Like that new slingshot foil that came out with no screws looks super cool.
Yeah, cool. But I
think I want like a V3 or a V4 though.
Yeah. So just like that Parawing thing or what North is going to launch, it's whatever the name is going to be. It's like,
and BRM just literally created a whole new sport, and they're about to.
I mean, it's killer.
Do they have a patent on a Parawing though, or is every company about to have Parawing?
I mean, every company is going to have. Yeah. They're going to have to do something, right?
Totally.
It's a very small.
It's such a trending market right now. All the foil stuff.
I could have I think a full hour podcast about it because my mind has been just racked with the whole thing, and doing it, suffering through sessions, having good sessions, thinking of who it's for. Like, because I don't want to think of it just as me. For an athlete, I'm like, cool, yeah. I understand what I would use it for, and I know my skills, but I try to think of it through, like, I'm a school, because people come into my shop all the time, like,
probably ask you questions.
I want to learn how to wing, or I want to foil drive, I want to kite, and I have to think of what's the best avenue for them to get to this point, and what's the easiest equipment to get to that point. And And then I'm thinking in my head, people are coming in, oh, I want to do that para-wing thing. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like,
yeah,
if you don't know how to foil,
that's not a good idea.
if you don't know how to wing, you don't know how to kite. Like Roy just came and got up. I don't know if you know Roy, he's from Puerto Rico.
Mm-hmm.
He just came and that's all he did. He brought his 70-liter board, didn't even bring his paddle and downwind. He came here to downwind and he bought 4 of those BRMs and that's what he's doing. And I'm in the park lot showing him everything that I've done, like how to stuff it, how to roll it, how to do it. I tangle the lines like this, I tangle them up, like now untangle them. He's like, oh, Josh, never, I don't know. And I'm like, and it was weird because everyone else that I've been out with that does it has been they've been a kiter, or they're a winger. He doesn't really wing that much, and he's never been a kiter, which makes a huge,
I think anyone that's kite foiled for 5 minutes going into winging, they have an advantage for sure. And they just, I think you just understand how to read the wind because you're,
they don't even need to know how to kite.
Not your arms.
Just kite. Know how to handle a kite. I've untangled millions of lines. When I look at a bar and lines and it's like a ball of spaghetti, I see the matrix. I could untangle it. It could take somebody that's never untangled line all day. I could do it in half an hour, So that's the same thing. I tangle it up. I'm like, here you go. And it just looks foreign to him. But I could untangle it. I'm like this while I'm in the water. But there's, so just to stay on that subject of who is for and where is it going? And I racked my brain with them a lot is that I'm like, I think what you guys think you're going to develop is it is not this amazing thing.
It's a novelty.
Yeah. It's not going to be perfect.
Yeah. I really think that for the next year or two, we're going to see a lot of interesting products, right?
Sure.
Like paddles with, wings that pop out of them and
collapsible wings,
stuff like that.
I think this, it's super
I really think where we made it though, I think going from those ugly wide beginner boards, and it's kind of funny because the industry progressed as a whole together. Because 2 years ago at AWSI, every board looked like a chode.
Yes.
And now they're everything's mid-length. We brought the rails in. They emulate a surfboard. You can actually ride one of these boards downwind. Yeah. And it when you touch down, it doesn't grab and pull you into the water. And we've come so far, but then there's still just all this weird tech and novelty stuff coming. Yeah. And I really want to see because how long has winging been around? 5 years now, 6 years? Maybe a little longer.
It's COVID. It's it's almost like
okay,
COVID
so no,
thing.
yeah.
4? Less? 4? Yeah, I don't know.
But I really want to see this market stabilize because what I've been seeing is my local beach, everyone that I used to kite with, and I'm talking when I started kiting, I only kite foiled with guys.
Yeah.
And then everyone switched to wings. And it didn't just go they switched to winging and then they switched to downwind. They switched to products with the trends. First everyone had BRM clouds.
Yeah.
And then it went to it was the Nash Trip and then the BRM Cloud. And then everyone sold everything and got lift foils and F1 wings.
Yeah.
And then it's now my beach is fly surfer.
But you're stuck in certain markets.
Yeah, totally.
Right? I sit in my market, you sit in your market. I go to a beach somewhere and I'm like, wow, there is a lot of whatever.
Yeah.
You're wow, there's a lot of Nash here.
It's finally,
and there's this one guy with a shop that's the Nash.
It's finally starting to my local beach though. It's now starting to be okay, you have people learning that have beginner whatever setups.
Yeah.
But I'm seeing mainly mid-lengths, nicer wings.
Yeah.
Everyone's in their second or third year winging. People are off the swing wing or whatever.
Yeah.
Maybe Alula wings.
Yeah.
It's just
what's different now is that people are a little bit more choosy with their gear. So let's just an example. I'm in Puerto Rico and let's say I only sell north. Back in the day, you would only see north.
Yeah.
No one would care. What I've supplied and what I told you to buy, they would buy. But now people are so choosy, You will see a lot of different brands. And so the market now is a little bit more diverse,
for sure.
And they're more choosy. So it's not really what the shop is doing, and here in the States, it's different. I think about Mexico.
I think it's really interesting though, how much influence that a shop has because I've been in this industry for a while. And we have a local presence in Santa Barbara. Like there's a kite shop, but it's mainly a sailing shop, right? So it's just too small to have the latest products on the shelf, right? Everything's like a drop ship order. So to build our kite community, we almost had to like build Dre, like our local shop. And now he sells all the wing stuff and foil stuff, and it's like got boards in stock and all the stuff. But like when I started kiting, like again, I started in like 2017. It was like, I was getting like 2016 Decline harness because that was the only thing in stock. And like, I'm just not from a windy area. So like, you couldn't even get a Mystic harness, where like, if I lived in Puerto Rico, being able to walk into your shop and get like what I should have, not just like what's available, that's such a big part of it too.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand that until I started to be the tech rep.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, people that I hung out with and sold stuff to last year, like I've like changed their style. Like this is like what they do now.
Yeah.
And it's because I sold them some gear in a parking lot, and they're like,
I mean, huge.
Told them what foil to get, and now they're riding that same setup a year later, and it's like it's literally like their identity on the water. It's like the gear I've pushed them into, and that's kind of interesting. Like,
yeah, for sure. And I
was a cheap ass when I got into the sport, so it's like I couldn't afford the new gear. I had used stuff, and I don't know. It makes me feel good when people are like, I mean, you probably experienced this, but people ask you for your opinion, and then
all the time, every day.
When you see
my phone on silent, just so that it wouldn't bug me now.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, that's why I want to be, an average Joe at everything, because I want to give my opinion
more influence
on a certain level. I don't want to be like, and I know everything. I know where they need to start and go, because it could be extremely difficult. And what happens now with this Parawing and whatever else are coming out, it's going to change. It's going to change what boards we want to ride as well. Like the mid-length is essentially just perfect for it.
Perfect. I think these like mid-length boards are exactly where we should be.
Yeah, and about the V1, the V2, the V3, sometimes people want to wait until it's like the V3, but you got to get into it now and experience it. And it's so good that this product come out and so many people buy it, and we have all these techie, crazy dudes with a credit card that can just buy that thing, right? And now I'm talking to everybody, and I'm like, what do you think? And they're like, oh, I do this. And I have long hair. I take my hair tie around the line. People are just doing.
Everyone's got their own thing.
They're like, oh, I made my own bag for it, And then this is what really.
That's the one that kills me, is the soft handles with the PVC boom, like the homemade boom on the swing wing or whatever.
Yeah. I'm
not hating. I know that money's tight for some, but that one's great. Let's just redesign the wheel.
Yeah, because when Foil Drive came out, they came out with a Tupperware box, a lunch box with a motor on it. But the real idea was the Gen 2. Yeah. That's really what he wanted, but there was no way to get there. So he launched this thing that he thought could, see how to get
you also need other people
it.
to believe in it too. Yeah. And I think the Gen 1 Foil Drive, even though I didn't really care for it at first, I think enough older guys trying to learn how to wing and foil bottom to where we actually found a place in the market for it. Now the Foil Drive is like, dude, if you have a shop and you don't sell a Foil Drive, what are you doing? Because everyone wants to buy them.
Yeah.
And what brand's not working with them? Also, I think every main brand works with them, right? It's like a no-brainer. They have their own marketing.
This event was crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy because of the no wind. And you go to every single brand, North, has an integrated mast with Axis, integrated unifoil.
No, but like the company itself, though, is just set up for it. Like they have their own marketing.
Yeah.
They have all their stuff. I mean, the Foil Drive is a sweet product. If I had money, I would own a Foil Drive. Yeah. Right now would be a Foil Drive day.
Yeah, for sure.
But I bought a jet ski, guys.
Which is useful on a different level.
Yeah.
You can take your girlfriend for a rip
instead of one. Just myself.
I know. That's a bummer. That's why you started calling around early in the morning. Who will rally with me? Don't need that with a Foil Drive, but it's totally different. Yeah. But that's what has to happen. I mean, if
with every product,
we're staying on this subject of the Parawing or whatever, or the one from North, it's not going to be perfect. So launch whatever it is now. It's going to be good, and we are going to be able to use it like we are going to use it. but then let that feedback come back. And it's not like and I know for maybe like a big player, it's hard to wrap your head around it because you don't want be like, oh, this is garbage, or it is the whole thing. It's essentially weird, and it's not supposed to be perfect. That's why. And then the 2 and the 3 and the 4, we're gonna be back on kites again.
Sky's the limit. Yeah, they just add 20 meters to the thing.
Yeah,
I actually really do think this sport will come full circle again, though, at a certain point. Like winging and just foiling in general has gotten so many new people into the water that I feel like wouldn't be here otherwise, right? Yeah. Like, I don't know, most people see winging and it's like kind of accessible once you get past the price tag.
Yeah.
But like when I got into kiting, like the reason I was drawn to it is an extreme sport. Like it just looked chaotic. And I always wanted to do it and try it. But I think you now are going to have all these kids that are growing up and they're like, okay, we wing, we can jump on the wing. Now we want the next bit of adrenaline.
Yeah.
It's kind of like when you grow up skiing and you finally get a snowboard at like age 10 or 11. Like, that's what my parents did. They wouldn't let me snowboard until I could ski proficiently.
Oh, really? I mean, I skied first, but I went really quickly over to snowboard. I was like... 4, 5, Oh, that's Walt. It's his birthday today.
Good old Walt, man, I love that guy.
Yeah, we're gonna do a
downwinding with him tomorrow.
We are. I don't know why he's calling, but he's so hyped here. He's looking for a place. Super cool. Do you live here full time, or?
I'm just here for the summertime. So I'm down in La Ventana in the winter.
You got a property or something, right?
No, I have a lot of like situationships in Hood River, but I know everyone up here. I got a good like support network, and
that's cool.
I have a trailer that I rent in White Salmon. Mm-hmm. I own the trailer, but I rent a property, and I leave that here full time. And then I have tons of friends in town.
So where are you staying now? You're not staying in your trailer?
No, I've actually, so my trailer's like 25 minutes away, and it's actually just become a massive gear garage. So I have like 5 boards and cardboard boxes in there and a broken paramotor and like everything that I don't want with me. My jet skis over there. I have like all the wetsuits. Basically everything that I don't want in my car is over there. And then I have like the necessity items in my car. I have like all my reaches.
Yeah.
I have the 2 or 3 front wings that I'm using. 2 masts.
What's exciting for you? Like, in the foiling, the kite foiling, like any of these foils that came out that really you didn't expect to work out like they did, or?
Yeah. So again, I said earlier that this is the first year that I'm riding a stock foil from any brand. I've always had like very customized
last
stuff.
Time I saw you, it was like
a Sab foil mask painted to say North with like, honestly, I think Mr. Potato Head is the best way to explain or describe what my setup was. But I just wrote a setup that worked for me.
Yeah.
And I was breaking everything I had. So I like bomb-proofed an old Sab foil setup and glued it together, and it was just god awful. But so I actually yesterday was given the new MA 500 wing from North, and I've been riding a modified 650 high aspect wing for about a year. And the wing that they just gave me looks identical to what I have.
It's still a thicker cord, though.
Well, it's way better. No, it's way better because my wing, to make the shape that I just got, I used sandpaper, a grinder, a Dremel.
Yeah.
Like, and
it looks awful.
It looks awful. It looks awful, man. It's like, it's embarrassing. But it's what I need. It doesn't break. It doesn't have the surface area. It goes fast. Yeah, I think the medium aspect line is just like the best thing for our company because
crazy,
well, and anyone can ride it. Like we have all the sizes, so it goes fast. It goes slow.
Yeah,
it's forgiving. I'm riding it in the 500 size, which is like insanely fast.
Yeah,
but it's just forgiving.
Yeah, stable. I was thinking about it because I was looking at the 500. I haven't ridden it. I rode the 530 in the SF or whatever the size is that's coming out. Arlen, I left it with him. It was like one of the early on like productions, and he's like, he called me. He's like, bro, that foil is insane. And I'm like, it's crazy that you can ride such a small foil, and Puerto Rico's not that windy.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't think, I just know, because of where I came from in foiling, it's hard to start to adjust because I've ridden very small foils, and you just need to be so lit. But the foils now, they can put so much low end
like
into it. Maybe they're not as fast as what those used to be, but I don't need to go 40. You know, I need to be able to go 15 to 30, right? And have that stability. So I think
that's the main thing for me
crazy.
Is I think for the last 3 years in our industry, lift has been like the main descriptive word. When people are like buying a wing, they're like, okay, well, does it have a lot of lift or does it do this? I want stability at speed and stability at slow speed. And that's it. Like, I can figure it out as long as when I blast my wingtip out of the water, as long as I don't ventilate, I'm going to keep riding. And I think that all these new wings, they're kind of there. Like, we can blast a high aspect wing out of the water. Like, you can pretty much see the fuse and you can re-enter and not crash.
Yeah. As long as, like, I realize that now riding I ride a lot of different stiff masts, but riding now the North stuff with the new high mod mast.
Yeah.
When the tip comes out of the water, I would fall sometimes. There was some cavitation happening. Yeah. I didn't know what it was.
A lot of flex too with wing foils and surf foils.
But that's what it was. I was like, the tips were coming out, and my recovery, the recover coming into that, I was getting maybe flex and wobbling off and falling. With the high mod mast, I'm able to do that so much more efficiently, and I can stay on foil. And I think it's crazy that that's not the part you'd think you would need. Like, you'd think it's the foil, but actually the mast helps me breach my tips and recover.
I was laughing so hard at AWSI. I think it was 2 days ago, but I was with like Eric Pajeos and maybe Pat Taylor and some of the other North guys, and we were just dying laughing because like everyone every year has got these key phrases, right? Like if you're down at the AWSI trade show, if you don't have like high modulus descriptive, just as a descriptive word, like for your foil, you're ruined. Like, it's garbage. No one wants it.
Yeah, it's got to be ultra.
We were saying, like, with the trends and stuff, I can't wait for like 3 or 4 years when they're like, yeah, guys, we decided modulus is terrible. Like, this is 0% modulus. Yeah. Modulus free.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just a good time to be in our sport.
I mean, it always felt like that. But this is definitely, since I've been in it since 2009, right? And for sure, I'm
so grateful, by the way. I missed all this ghetto products and pulley bars and just sketchy crap.
I got into it after that. It was not sketchy. There's been a lot of horrible stuff that came out, like in 2015. Cabrina had this weird like double trigger like safety release thing, the IDS, and there's
liquid force bars.
Yeah, there's been a lot of bad stuff, and like pulleys and Velcro releases. So there's been a lot of bad stuff, but it's all been pretty functional and safe enough. And the kites were better, but it just gets so much better. And then the last 5-6 years of the industry and then foiling, and then now kiting kind of ramping up and also pushing harder than they have in the 5 years prior. Because there's something, with all this materials and tech and just...
It's all tech right now. That's all our industry is tech.
Tech.
Yeah, carbon fiber, different materials for the fabrics.
Yeah, so many different things. And
it's figuring out how to get Dyneema to not stretch under load. Like, just, I don't know, weird things that like you never really thought about, but it is kind of a game changer.
Yeah, and then there's some people saying that, they don't want flex, and then others saying that I like a little bit of flex, and there should be flex in the tail, and then there's, there's like...
I think in that though is where the brands are going to kind of make, I don't know, their name. Like, for instance, like you have foil specific companies that's all they do, like Access or Uni or something.
Well,
like, they don't make anything but foils, and like those brands will be able to cover a line where they can actually make everyone happy. But I mean, dude, like we have like a bajillion SKUs. We got to cover all the margin, all the, like, we got a surf foil, high aspect foils. We have mid aspects. I think we're trying to do everything and cover all the bases, but we also have to make stuff that people use.
Yeah. I mean, and that's
how many other guys, it's like you and me and like probably like 15 people in the United States that are going to end up with like 500 MA wings. I mean, maybe more than that, like the toe foil guys.
You could be surprised.
Yeah.
At how good these foils are and who can actually use them. I'm always surprised at seeing an average, who you think is an average Joe. But the problem is that you think that people within the industry are athletes. They're not, there could be people that are not in the industry that do it on the weekend that rip.
They're insane, yeah.
And there's tons of people like that, because we're not making much money
like
in
Ken
the industry.
Adgate is like the perfect example of
Who's
a guy.
that?
He's the mic slap guy.
Oh, Ken
Adgate.
Yeah, of course. I was just talking to him.
But he's like, he owns the Ford dealership in Rio Vista. He's like a weekend warrior for kiting, and he's like probably the best kiteboarder in all the disciplines. That doesn't care if he's a pro, doesn't care if he's sponsored. Like
kiteboarder.
He does everything. He foils, he kites, he wings.
He's like, oh yeah, I was in Stevenson 2 days ago, and I had a great boot session. I'm like,
dude, he does everything.
I'm like, dude,
yeah, and sufficiently too. Like anytime he does one of the activities, like people watch him kite, and they're like, whoa, that guy is ripping.
Yeah.
But he's kiting after work, after like 4 p.m., and then on the weekends, and it's impressive. The guy's like runs a full business.
Insane. Watching him wing is just so cool. Like, I wish
that guy's literally like
the freestyle stuff is dope, and I love that, and it's cool to see where that pushes. But it's
the strapless wing jump.
They're really impressive when they're doing their stuff, and it's like, holy shit. But Ken is different because you could keep your eyes on him, the whole time.
Yeah.
And every quarter of a second is interesting.
When he rides faster, it's not just backwinding, then you can go forward.
He's going this, he's turning so fast, he's upwind, he's switching his feet, he's on his back, he's going 1,000,000 miles an hour, and it just looks effortless and cool.
I think that for anyone like that, I mean, I guess everyone has their own goals in the sport, but like that's my goal in the sport, is to be a rider that's so well-rounded in everything that like you just show up at the beach and doesn't matter what the conditions are, whether it's light wind or strong. I have a tool in the car for the day.
The conditions.
And I have the skill level to be, I don't know, pretty decent at all of it.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's kind of the goal in this sport. Like,
yeah. I mean, he's going to be the only person in the world to learn how to downwind in 4 minutes.
Yeah.
With a paddle.
I think he already makes downwind boards, man. The guy's probably already downwind.
No, I'm talking about you.
Oh yeah.
Ken does downwind.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, like, I'm sure that guy just like woke up and downwinded first try.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Well, I'll have to ask him. He's super cool. It's been really cool to be at the AWSI.
A long couple of days. There was no wind and just heat. And we had all the business meetings.
Yeah.
And getting through dealer meetings. So
yeah, and I'm hanging out with North and the code guys and these guys, and it's just so cool. And I love sitting down with them and not talking about foiling. Like I didn't know that they had a life.
Yeah.
Right? And that's good at the trade show, because when you get to see somebody at the end of the day and you go in front of them and they're like about to spit out their spiel, and you're like, no spiel. I'm not buying anything. How's your wife?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
It's funny how these things are. They're the same every year. It's like, I think this is my 4th AWSI event. It is. It's my 4th one. And I think the first 2, you're like so excited. I mean, I am excited. I want to see all the new products and see all my friends and like hang out with people.
And that's what it was for me too. Yeah. It was a lot of the products, and I went wild testing all this stuff, and then the other stuff kind of like
I think after a day or 2 days, I don't really care about the talking about kiting anymore. Like it's just like, dude, I haven't seen you in a year. Do you want to go to Stevenson and ride Eastwind together? Yeah. Like, I don't know. Yeah. And then having new gear, that was pretty cool.
Having the new gear is epic, and you can't try it all. Everything's being really good, and the event was really eventful.
Yeah.
And I think even with the lack of wind, all the North gear was gone. People were going and sessioning, but they were coming back, and the event site was chill.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't hectic.
I think it's the first time I've been able to have conversation at AWSI. Typically, you walk into a tent and people are just stressed. They're like, I need some space. Yeah.
They're like stressed, handing out stuff, testing stuff, talking stuff like that.
I think the most stress of the entire week we just had was the heat and the amount of drinking everyone was doing.
I didn't drink that much.
Neither did I.
I'm kidding. Well, I saw you because I don't really know you, but I know that you're just. Whenever I think of you, I just think of a good time.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I don't even know if I've ever been partying with you. But then when I saw you this morning, you're packing away the stuff. You look exhausted, and I was like, "Oh man, he had a rough night."
Dude,
and you said, "No, I'm not drinking. I'm trying to be an athlete."
Yeah. Well, I've had
But I'm running on 4 hours of sleep over the past 2 days.
You know? I think I'm running on similar amount.
But it's we're here to have a good time, and it's been super fun. And I haven't heard anything too crazy, happen in the evenings, but
nothing crazy. Last year we had a party and someone pooped all over the lawn of the entire event. So this year was amazing. Like we're done, we're packed up, gears back at the shop. Like
done.
Yeah, like
we're done.
It's a done deal.
It's cool, bro.
Dude, thank you for having me here. Yeah,
it's fun. I always try to think about like who I want to talk to, and most people would think like, oh, you should talk to this person because he's like has a lot of followers or something, but maybe those aren't really the most interesting people all the time. And then I prefer to just talk to, I mean, you are a pro, you're an athlete, you do crazy shit, but you're just a cool, low key dude.
Yeah, I'm just trying to
hang out with.
Yeah. I don't know.
I always wanted to connect with you more, but we never get the time. And this is exactly what that is supposed to be. Like, I get to know you. I didn't know you had all those certifications. And if we sat down at the bar tonight, I still wouldn't know that. So it's good to, and I've talked about it before, which could be boring, but this just makes, I'm getting, the reason I do this is just for a lot of reasons, but when I go out at night, I have more thoughtful, engaging conversations because I've trained. This is essentially practice.
Yeah.
At being better at connecting with people. I'm kind of introvert, which is strange. When I go somewhere, but now I'm like, when I connect with somebody, I connect really well with them, and we always have a good time. So.
Yeah.
So it's fun.
Been fun.
Yeah, man. So thanks. Want to say anything special or?
No, I appreciate if you guys made it this far in the podcast. That's honestly amazing, and I thank you. Like, it feels good just to have people interested, and it's been an interesting few years trying to be on the world tour and support my lifestyle, and I feel like I'm in the right place and making the right decisions, and it's been a big year. I'm super excited for next season, going down to Mexico. Yeah, I think the future is going to be really good, and thank you to North, and thank you, Dylan, for having me out on this podcast.
Yeah, right on. Thanks, man.
Bye, guys.